What's up everyone? This is Skieth and this is my channel where I'm going to be showing my art process, and what I'm hoping to do is by showing this, other people might be able to take some of the tips and tricks I've picked up and avoid some of the pitfalls I've run into before. Now on this channel I'm also going to be experimenting with some new types of techniques, and as I learn how to use them, as I go through the process of trial and error, I'll be recording those and sharing those as well. That way everyone can see where those mistakes went wrong, what could have been done differently, and if you guys have anything to share for something new that I'm learning, please feel free to share in the comment section below. That way we can all gather the knowledge together and learn as a team. Now getting into my process here, whenever I'm doing a traditional piece like this one that I'm doing, I always start out by sketching my image with all the details and edits I'm going to want in my final piece, especially the hands and faces, etc. on sketch paper. And then when I'm happy with it, I get out my light board and transfer the image over to either watercolor paper or, in this instance, my favorite for inking and Copics, Bristol board. I use smooth for mine. This takes a little bit longer, but produces a much cleaner finished project. There are no extra indents in the paper that make it weird, what I call ghost lines, later on in the image. I use a light blue pencil lead for transferring my image over, and then I start my inking. I personally always start with the faces. Reason being for this is that people focus on the face whenever they look at a character. So if you mess up on the face, I'd rather scrap the attempt earlier before I put in all the extra inking and time. I learned this lesson the hard way whenever I was doing a face near the end of my image and my pen decided without warning to just leave a little puddle of ink over the whole eye on the face. I was devastated, so ever since then, faces first. I can hide mistakes other places, happy little accidents, if you know Bob Ross, but on the face you can't really hide it like that. There's too much fine detail. So I always do faces first and then I work from there. So a good thing to do whenever you're inking is always keep in mind that you want to ink whatever's closest to you first, whatever's laying on top of something else. So like if you have a hand that's over the rest of the image, like on a shoulder or something like that, you want to draw that before you draw the shoulder underneath. That way the top lines, you have your endpoints for where the lines underneath it are going to meet and end. That way you don't accidentally go over those lines, and there's some ways that you can work around that later on that I'll also do in this video, but it's a good practice to get into. So always do what's on top first, what's closest to you, and then work your way further into depth in the picture. That's how I do it. If anyone knows a better way, by all means. I also make sure I always start with some of my finest lines. So my personal use is Copic multi-liners. I usually start out anything, especially delicate things like the face, hands, hair, wisp. I always start with 0.03, the finest liner that they have, that I have at least. And from there, I build up my inking as I go. I'll usually go from that to the 0.05. I use that for the skin. And I use usually for things like cloth and stuff, I use 1s. Now something that I do to build up some line variation and different line widths is first I go through and I do everything with the smallest line I can for that type area. And after that's done, I finished all the picture, it all looks very flat because there's not any line variation. I go back in later and places where I think I really want it to pop, things that are closer, things I want to draw more attention to, I go ahead back with a bolder line and then I re-go over those areas, thickening that line. This is also something that you can do for correcting mistakes where you may have gone over on one of the lines, and you can kind of use that thicker line to blend that out and hide those little mistakes. This does take a little bit longer than if you just choose which line width you're going to do at the beginning. I like doing it this way because you can always add thicker lines, but you can't ever make the line thinner. So I like viewing and deciding that as I go through my inking on what I want the thickest line to be. If I think it looks too thin one area after I finish out part of it, then I go back and add. But if I come back thinking, oh, I wish I wouldn't have been that thick there, I can't ever take that away. So that's why I always make sure start with smaller. Just like in colors, you start with your lighters, you move into darkers, because it's a lot easier to add dark than ever take that away. So same thing with line width, that's how I operate with this, unless I'm using like a brush tip, which has a whole different flow to it. But as far as fine liners go, for what I use usually whenever I'm doing Copics and such like that, always works small, big. Another thing that you can do at the end, whenever you are finishing out and you have all your medium widths, is I like to go through in the main focus of my page. I like to make just a little bit thicker of the total outlining of the area that I want to bring into focus. That really helps that part pop out. It's a comic book tip that I learned a long time ago, and I found that really helps make the image pop. I personally use a few different types of liners. I used to use the microns because I could only get them from Hobby Lobby for a long time. I grew up out in the countryside. My only art supply real vendor was Hobby Lobby for a long time. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I used to get the micron fine tip liners. My first set that I ever got was the Pigma Sensei set for making manga and such. And it's actually a really good set still, I would say. I still use some of them. Most of them have dried up by now, but I still use some of those, the thicker ones that still have ink in them. I love them. If I could find that exact set again, I would, but they've discontinued it, as far as I can tell. The micron liners, I stopped using these whenever I switched over to the Copic multi-liners, because I found a whole bunch of them on clearance for $2.59 instead of the $11.99 that they're regular priced. I found a whole bunch of packs, and so I bought all those up. Tip for people who do shop at Hobby Lobby and you're looking for things with Copics and other art stuff, check the clearance area, not in the art section, but in the scrapbooking section, because a lot of times the same materials are over there, but they're in a different department, and so they will clearance differently. Because like these ones went on clearance like 3 times, and I got like 4 packs of them for $2.59 each. So it's a huge deal, and they were still full price in the art department. So always just be a lookout whenever you're going places for stuff like that, that different stores do different department discounts. And yeah, I still am using these years later because I've had so many. I just had packs. Whenever one dries up, I use the next one. It's worked out really great for me. Some other pins that I use are ones I get from jetpins.com, I believe it is. Not affiliated with them or anything like that. They're just really great websites that will sell you pins from like Japan that they use. I have 2 particular ones that I use, a Pilot double tipped one and a Zebra one that are both brush tips. The Pilot has a thick nib and a thin nib, except one side did dry out rather quickly. You want to make sure you keep it stored on its side. I kept it stored in a pin slot where it was up, and one side dried out because of that. So that one you definitely want to store on its side, but they're both fantastic pins. I also have another one that has a grayscale that makes it really great when I'm just doing rough sketches, to just add in some light shadowing really quick. So I definitely recommend checking out those pins. I can add some links from below. As far as erasers go, I just use a Pentel, the long erasers with a little thing that clicks up and down. Drives everyone nuts whenever I click through it all the time when I'm bored. But it's just a white rubber eraser, and what I really like about these ones is I can take my X-Acto knife and really cut down to a fine tip to get that eraser that I want. Now for this video, I'm just going to be working on the line art of these 2 characters. These 2 characters are from a homebrewed D&D game that was really long running. I'm hoping we get back into it. But it was between me, my husband, and our 2 closest friends who used to be roommates with us. The DM does a fabulous job. She has a whole world that she's created in depth, and it's just really immersive and really gets the players involved. So the 2 characters here, the male is Krau, who was originally a NPC character that was supposed to be just kind of a one-time deal. And then the girl is the character that I'd play, which is Kalipsy. And she ended up actually falling in love with this NPC and sidetracked the entire campaign to go on a mission to actually save him. And me and my friend roleplayed stuff afterwards, and yeah, just these two characters are just really near and dear to my heart. And so I really want to just do a picture with them, especially if I can finish this before the holiday season is up so that I can give it to the DM, because her world is just amazing. I am her #1 fan, and I really hope that she actually goes through with publishing her stuff someday, because let me tell you, it's something to really look out for. Now, if you guys want, I can talk more about D&D sessions later on in different videos if you'd like. If you want to hear more about the characters in the next video, just let me know. I'm also going to be playing. So this whole process for these characters getting inked took me about 3 some hours, I believe. I did lose 2 different sections of video, each about 10 minutes worth, where I was working on Kalipsy's tail, I believe, both times. So that was a bit unfortunate, but I believe it also took me a little bit longer just stop and go. I was using my phone for this recording because it was before I was able to get a webcam, and my phone would overheat after about 10 minutes, and if I didn't turn it off fast enough, it would actually lose all the video. So, trial and error. If you guys be patient with me, I'm learning as I go. But I wanted to go ahead and get started with sharing these type of videos with you guys, getting it out there for the people that have been requesting that I do this. That way they can see my tips and tricks and know exactly what I'm referring to. I included everything without really editing the footage. That way you see the exact process I go through. It is sped up just for time allowance, but I always wonder how long it actually took. It took a little bit over 3 hours. So for the rest of this time, I'm going to go ahead and just play some music for you guys. Let me know if you prefer the talking or if you prefer the music for future videos, so that I can go ahead and try to accommodate that for people. Links to the music will be provided below for you guys to check out later if you find that you like that. If anyone has any music they'd like to recommend that is copyright free, feel free to send me a message. I'll be happy to include those in future videos as well. And I will see you guys at the end of the video. Enjoy!
I'm alone, I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm done with yesterday. Fada, fada. My demons dwell, my own little nightmare, I call it hell, oh well. It's time to get back up, climbing and climbing. I'm done with this ride, is what I tell myself, so I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost my style. Darling, where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stood still, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl. You never made a sound. Oh, wait, I'm tired of the pain. Go
Alright, so we're getting to the end of this inking session here. You can see where I'm going with my thickest lines and kind of just really making some things pop. I don't always go all the way into the lines, so it kind of has a tapered end that makes a really nice effect. I'm just really making sure to bring forth different parts to add some depth to the picture. Adding in some bolder black areas to really help pull the eye to certain spots. Now I am planning to go ahead and record with my new webcam the Copics whenever I'm starting to do that to actually add color to this picture. I might add some more inking as I feel while I go through that, but this is the main part of the inking, just some really nice clean lines for my Copics. Nothing with shading or anything like that. If you guys are wanting to go ahead and view whenever I do upload that next one, I don't have a set time schedule that I'm going to be doing such. I do work full-time as well as I'm going to college right now for animation, so my schedule is pretty tight, but I do plan to actually upload as I can for you guys, just share whenever I do learn some new things or just tips that I already learned, and sometimes just watching someone will give you some type of insight that they don't even think to give you. I learned a lot that way, which is why I wanted to go ahead and do this for other people. People have been asking me how I do certain things a lot. So the best way is to actually go ahead and subscribe if that's what you want to do, is keep updated with this, because I do not have a time frame that I have set yet for uploading videos. I know that's a bad practice, but unfortunately that's the situation I'm in right now. So if you guys want to go ahead, you can subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you like this video, go ahead and like. If you guys have anything that you'd like to comment, other tips that you'd like to share with the group, feel free. This is intended to be an area for everyone to learn together. So thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you do enjoy as I was inking Krau and Kalipsy. I might talk more about them more in the next video. Probably talk a lot about Copics and how I use those, different techniques I've learned from, and anything you guys found helpful, just go ahead and let me know. If there's anything that you guys would like for me to do, that you guys would find more helpful in the videos, let me know that too, and I'm happy to try to help you guys out. Alright, thank you guys so much, and you enjoy your day.